Okay, so as many of you know by now, Taylor and I have left the radio and are now doing the Broads View, and here we are. And you can find us, well, I guess on YouTube if you're looking at this, and then also at broadsviewblog.blogspot.com. That's broadsviewblog.blogspot.com.
Now say that 10 times fast, and we'll give you a prize.
A small one. Okay, so Taylor, we recently wrote on our blog at broadsviewblog.blogspot.com about reunions and reunion anxiety and how, of course, you go on a diet and you get your hair done and you want to look your best, maybe get a new pair of something. And
yes. Oh my God, I desperately tried like the day before to buy something.
And that's just it, because our lives are so busy, you don't really have time, so you end up taking your old whatever it is. But
no, or you go to your sister's closet. Oh, I'm very fortunate, and then I have a sister who's
got a great closet. That's good.
And she was away.
She couldn't even.
She was in a different climate, so I had pretty much anything I wanted, so that worked out well.
That's great. Okay, so you went to your high school reunion, and was there anyone there? I'm sure there were there. You went down with a group of friends who you were hoping to see. I mean, you wanted to see.
Yeah, although it's funny, a very good friend of mine who lives near me now had not. We kind of reconnected, I don't know, 15 years ago, and had kept in touch. And then another guy joined her, and I have to say he made my day. He was a friend of mine in high school, but not someone I had talked to since probably freshman year of college.
And we've been following him for a long time on our radio show and didn't even know it.
Exactly. He's a writer, and he does a lot of writing for the New York Times and various magazines, and he made my day, as I said, and that was a real upside surprise. And the three of us, I think, were all a little anxious.
Sure.
We made a pact not to leave each other.
I think that's really good, by the way. Have a plan.
Have a pact.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But it's funny, we were kind of saying that not all of our good friends or the people we hung out with the most were actually there.
Oh.
A few people, definitely, it was really fun to see. I mean, we were definitely friendly with a lot of the people that showed up. But we had a class of over 300.
Wow.
Yeah, and so maybe there were 80 people. I haven't gotten a final count yet. But we discussed the anxiety, of course, of how you look, particularly as we're getting up there. And particularly in a recession where I'm a little behind on the maintenance, I gotta tell you. You know, I keep my hair blonde, but all the other stuff is falling by the wayside, so I was really bumming out about that. And you wanted to look hip, you know,
but not too hip.
Not too hip. Not that you're trying too hard, but just, anyway, I got the stamp of approval from my 14-year-old daughter, which almost never happened. She was like, wow, Mom, you look really good. And she even told my husband that, and he was sort of like, oh.
Oh, I want to see what you wore. We're going to have to go.
I've got Facebook pictures.
Oh.
Yes, indeed we do, but you have to be my friend to see them. At any rate, my friend Mary and myself, and a couple others too, but little did we know we really had nothing to worry about. I mean, we kind of looked okay. And it was reassuring to know that it hasn't been so bad.
Well, I'll tell you, I think different parts of the country, people eat differently and take care of themselves differently. And we live on the East Coast. I think if you live on one of the coasts, you're going to be, well, you pay attention. I don't know.
But no matter what, you're still, it's a very self-conscious, weird thing to go back and see people that you haven't seen. In this case, it was 25 years.
And see how they've changed.
And, again, now that I'm sort of an age where I don't really care what people think about me.
Right.
But you still care a tiny smidge. You want to make a good impression.
Well, you know, it's weird because it puts you back, transports you back to that place where what other people thought was the most important thing. It was paramount in your life. I mean, you were trying to establish your own identity and feel that sense of self. But come on, jury rule. Really.
Right. And there were very superficial concerns in high school, and it does kind of bring you back, and you get that, you know, when you're back. I went to a boarding school, so it was this campus, and all of a sudden, like, here we are. Yes, it was a funny feeling, and, you know, the smell, and the cafeteria, and the dorms, and just all of that, it definitely brought it all back. But the question is do you want to go, should we even bother going to our reunions? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think you should, because I think it gives you an opportunity to face those old ghosts, because I think we all have some ghosts in our past. And I had an opportunity, it wasn't a reunion, but to see someone and clarify a conversation we had had. And I was so grateful that I was able to do that. And it sounds like you had a very similar experience. One of those conversations that maybe should have happened a long time ago that never happened. And it's funny, you think that you're going to move on from that kind of thing, and it's sometimes those things stay inside of you.
They just gurgle right up to the top, and you have to go back and face the
So
people.
tell about your
Do we have
experience.
enough time?
Well, let's just do it. You can turn us off if you like, but this is good stuff, so you're not going to want to miss it.
Well,
Just briefly, and then we'll
okay, really briefly, my senior year in high school, huge bust, 15 or so kids got kicked out in both our senior and junior classes. Made the news, made 60 Minutes. It was a big deal. It was awful. It was really a shame. And
senior year, and your parents paid all that cash.
yeah,
Boarding school.
now luckily most of them were no worse for the wear. Ultimately, the colleges that had accepted them did ultimately take them a year or so later. They're all doing great. Everyone makes mistakes. You think your life is over, and it's not.
And take that away from this, because I do feel like unless you're dead, your life isn't over.
Exactly.
Really.
Exactly. And we
Yeah.
were saying that about our kids.
Yeah.
We just want them to stay alive. You can pretty much get through anything, unless they become a heroin addict.
Then you're
might
pretty
be
much dead.
problematic. Yeah. At any rate, that was a tangent. Some stuff went down, and with one of my really good friends who'd gotten kicked out, and fast forward 25 years later, he just could not apologize enough, and said that he'd been living with this for so long, and he really wanted to apologize that there'd been, something perhaps implicating me and some others, and whatever. It was just one of those things. And another thing happened with another friend of mine, the same guy, interestingly, had this weird confrontation, and this friend that I went up with did not want to see this person. He was really anxious about it. Obviously wanted, it wasn't keeping him from going to the reunion, but he hadn't spoken to him in 24 years, and they'd had a big falling out, and there it was. And again, the guy profusely apologized and had been carrying it around with him for the past 24 years.
Yeah.
And I've forgiven him. I'm not sure my friend David totally has forgiven him. I think he gets it. But I think maybe he's just sort of chosen to not necessarily want him in his life at all. So,
Fair enough.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it. But I do think it is, if you can stomach it, go to the reunion and hey, put on your best outfit and
Lose those 5 pounds.
yeah, yeah.
No, I think it's good. I think it's good to go back and face the old ghosts and take stock in the new you.
Well, right, and I have to say, I've completely renewed some friendships.
That's nice.
It does feel like a bit of a hole to dig out of. I mean, people that you haven't necessarily corresponded with for 25 years.
A long time.
And you do think, God, I had so much fun with this person, but can we really, are we really going to be friends now?
Yeah, besides Facebook.
Yeah, which does help.
Yeah.
But am I really going to go into New York City and call and say, let's go grab a drink, or let's have lunch, or do you want to go to the Met with me? Or am I going to do that? I don't know.
Well,
But
maybe you go with this one guy,
Yeah.
and I think it's worth that. So what's our bottom line? Go to your reunion?
I think, as you said, Colleen, in the blog, it's a necessary evil. And it can be great. It's not going to be a disaster. And just suck it up and go.
All right, you heard it here. Check out our blog at broadsviewblog.blogspot.com. All right, now Taylor's going to go turn this off.
Okie dokie.